At the rate I'm going, it seems like I make a Strange Manga I Find video at least once a month. I'll try to increase that, but I have found some pretty wild ones this month, so I'm looking forward to talking about those. Hey guys, it's Ash. I'm not going to waste any more time, and we are just going to get right into it, starting with Kemo Fujin, or Mrs. Kemo, by Fujiso. Mrs. Kemo loves drinking tea at the cafe and potatoes, but one day, suddenly, she was appointed to subdue the giant. Suddenly, despite having caught only a butterfly before, Mrs. Kemo embarked on an adventurous journey. Overwhelmingly unpredictable developments and attractive and unique character modeling caused a big response on Twitter. Yeah, that description is not a lie. This actually did get pretty popular on Twitter, and those are very unique character modeling, to say the least. This is definitely one of those series I picked up because I thought the art was very unique, to say the least, and I'm glad I did. It is a very silly story. Mrs. Kemo is a lovely dog, I think she is, and she has never hurted even a butterfly, but she is told by her husband, who is a talking smartphone, that she has to go kill a giant. No one in this series has any faith in Mrs. Fujin, and it's both funny and kind of sad. I'm a big fan of the smartphone that grows longer between panels and is also labeled smartphone. Here we have some lines that rival Vagabond and Vinland Saga in my opinion. I'll put this as simply as I can. If you meet a giant, it will kill you. It's dangerous. You know that, right? You are being delusional. This is not a pretty world. The time of butterflies is over. These same words were the same thing that Thor's, father of Thorfinn, told Thorfinn before he exploded in like a big battle, whatever the hell happened. I dig the monster design. It reminds me of that one manga I read, No Cats Were Harmed in the Making of This, in terms of their eeriness and just uncanny nature. I enjoyed the scene where Mrs. Fujin is hungry and then her husband / smartphone makes a potato for her and she's like, ooh. There's this dude named Timber Collect Wood, and I think he's based off of Wolfwood from Trigun, and his ability is that he can locate anyone that he calls on the phone. He has some great panels here and there. I'm a big fan of Not Power, aka the Doctor character, because this is just Power in terms of personality and kind of appearance. I remember sending my boy some pages from this manga with no context, and he genuinely thought I sent him some Chainsaw Man doujinshi, which is really funny. Yeah, honestly, I'm not enjoying this out of irony. I think it's like an actually fun little read. The art and characters are very charming in their own messy way, and it's just fun to follow, really. There's very clearly Chainsaw Man influences throughout, which is nice. I like to see aspiring artists be influenced by recent media. I really like this one. I binged all of it before I made this video, and I binged all of it again while making this video. Definitely give this one a try, and support the artists if you can. They draw some unique things on Twitter, to say the least, so keep an eye out for that. Next up is Nick and Lever by Miyata Kyogoru, the story of two foreign men living in Japan. From eBook Japan. Nick, with his stylish hair, and Lever, with his dazzling eyes behind his sunglasses, are a hot and crazy foreign duo who will face any obstacle that comes their way. The genius, Kyogoro Miyata, wastes no time in drawing, unleashes a shocking high-speed manga. Nick and Lever are finally here. I don't know about you guys, but I wasn't really following the history behind Nick and Lever, so I wasn't aware of like the pre-release trailers or nothing, so unfortunately I missed all the hype. But in all serious, I absolutely adore Nick and Lever. It is so funny and so charming in like that 90s kind of manga way. It is just really silly. The first chapter has Nick being late to his job at McDonald's and Lever punching a guy into orbit and Nick shooting out his own eyes to capture bandits, and it's so silly. I love how it's drawn. It's really charming. I love how these main two look. It's a photorealistic art style, but it's also very slapstick in terms of the antics that the main duo get into, and each chapter is roughly like a couple of pages, never really more than 4. I want to give a big shout out to the people who translated this manga because it has me rolling with these translations. I genuinely love how these two talk. Typesetting is very important. The font you choose, panel placement, all that stuff. The right font can really make a big difference. There's a lot of very fun fourth wall breaking jokes that they do that don't really redirect to us, the reader, but instead them making light of the fact that they're in a manga. Like there's a time where Lever needs a light and he has an idea, so the light bulb appears, and he grabs that light bulb and uses it as a light. Or at the time when one of them is late for work and they literally skip through the panels in order to get to work faster. Each chapter is just full of dumb little goofs that always made me happy whenever I read through it, like this one where Lever trips and then he leaves a butt imprint on the floor and they just fill it up with cement. Or this one where some cops stop Lever because they think he's dealing contraband, when in reality, he's using a suitcase in place of a shopping bag because he's supporting the environment. There's 30 chapters out so far, and each chapter again is very short. You can finish this entire series, or at least what's out of it, in about 5 minutes maybe. It's a very dumb and very sweet manga. It made me laugh a bunch of times. It always had me smiling. It's a very genuine feeling manga in terms of the characters and the writing. The relationship between Nick and Lever reminds me a lot of Me and My Boys, so that makes me really happy. I don't know why Lever has a weed necklace, but you know what? Good for him, man. I love how these two talk. I love a lot of the faces in this manga. Really, I could gush about this manga for however long it would take for you to actually read it. So go read it. Don't listen to me talk about it. Go click out of this video and go read this real quick and come back. You will not regret it. Honestly, the manga I'm talking about today aren't even bad. They're not even that strange, but I have no other way of talking about these, so I'm just gonna shoehorn them into this video. And next up, we got My Wife Could Be a Magical Girl. This one is brought to us by Aikawa Mashimo, and it reads, a warm and sometimes hard romantic comedy between the wife of a Kudere magical girl, 30 years old, and her fan husband. This strange manga video is different because I actually read every single manga that I'm talking about today to its completion, which isn't saying much because each one had like 5 chapters, so whatever, but no, this one's really adorable. If you are unfamiliar with the phrase kudere, sorry, I looked up kudere so I can like read off the explanation like I usually do. And why is Todoroki here? Why is Lloyd from Spy X Family here? Anyways, it's a Japanese term for a character who appears to not have emotions. They are often stoic, expressionless, and remain calm in stressful situations. And the main girl of this manga, Miku, she fits the bill. It's adorable. They get married together in chapter 1, and it's really sweet. Her husband is an otaku and loved her since they were both young, so it's not really creepy. There's no age gap or nothing. He loved her when he was an otaku, and he loves her as her husband, and it's really sweet. It's really just a cute little romance manga. I think it's the scans, but I kind of like how it's a little blurry. I think it's the scans. I think I'm insane. I don't know, I think it's like specifically the eyes. The eyes feel blurrier compared to everything else. I think I am going insane. It's almost midnight when I'm recording this. Anyways, yes, husband Kun is in love with his wonderful wife, who also loves him but isn't really good with dealing with emotions, and she is being called back into the game like John Wick. Typically, magical girls run out of their magical abilities when they're 16 or so, but in the case of Miku, she is 30 and still able to turn into a magical girl. She keeps this hidden from her husband because she's worried that if he knows, then he's gonna fall back into his otaku ways, when in reality he's already kind of an otaku towards her normally, so it doesn't really matter. He's a loser, and she's a loser in her own way, so they both deserve each other. It's very cute. I love their little interactions. He's very supportive, and she's very bashful about it, really. She's just really shy to like bring up anything that alludes to her past, even though he knows pretty much everything. It's not like she's trying to keep it a secret, but she does keep some aspects hidden, such as the fact that she still has her original uniform that she wore back in the day. They introduce a rival character who's like, oh, I fell in love with her first, and then the husband's like, nuh-uh, and he's like, uh-huh. The more I look at Miku, the more she kind of looks like Marin from Dress Up Darling, but not really. I guess they're both blonde and have those shoujo eyes, so maybe that's what I see. Adorable little manga, inoffensive, definitely give it a read if you ever have the chance, you will not regret it. It is very cute, and it's getting updated kind of frequently. And lastly, we have the Angelic transfer student and Mastophobia-kun. This one is brought to us by Sanka Kumaru, and it reads, this is a story about a high school boy who is afraid of big tits, who gets caught up with a new transfer student with big tits. It's exactly what it says. That's really all I gotta say. I read through all of it. I really like the art, especially how the eyes and the mouths are drawn. They are unironically really good, and the main guy has a lot of really good expressions. Could you imagine living like this? Like, could you imagine like if you see a cow and you just like scream or something? Aside from the really funny premise, it's just a standard by-the-books rom-com where you have to lose a main character who unironically calls himself like a side character, and you have the kind of Gyaru character who really likes hanging out with him for some reason. She goes out of her way to avoid the popular boys to hang out with him, and he's just like, huh, okay. He is completely oblivious to her advances, and it's like, what do you expect? This is a friggin' shonen slice-of-life romance manga, it doesn't matter. I will say this mangaka because I looked them up, and he has some very interesting other works, such as Nirugame-chan with a huge ass and Usami-kun. Maybe I'll talk about that one next time, because that one just seems like it's another case of it's exactly what it says on the can. There's a lot of very good faces made throughout this manga by the main character, so always keep an eye out for those. We have that one obligatory chapter where you know the author just really wanted to draw the main cute girl in weird outfits, so here you go. It's fine, it's inoffensive, we haven't gotten a chapter in 5 months, so maybe she gave up on him or something. The author is still updating frequently on their Twitter, and they are making some other manga too, so maybe keep an eye out on those. All in all, not a revolutionary manga, but what do you expect with one with a title like that? I did think it would play more into him being afraid of big boobs, but it never really does that ever. He doesn't like have a panic attack like in the Mario movie or Puss in Boots and like people post about it on Twitter. Like, you don't get any of that here. The most is just him being trapped in a dressing room with the girl and just going, oh god, oh Jesus. She has a little maid because of course the main girl comes from a well-off family. Right here, her maid's about to give her a little smooch. But either way, it's fine. Again, totally inoffensive. Give it a read, you can finish it in like 2 minutes and you'll probably enjoy your time, and you can go read that ass manga the guy made too. That'll wrap it up for this manga and for this video as a whole. Again, sorry if my voice seems out of it, it's been a long day. Love you all, thank you for watching to the end. I hope I have that Shenmue video out soon. I'll keep working on it. Let me read off my patrons. Is it Polaroid, Sarah Lolita, Borpula Savani, Real Sethley, Luce, Venti, C Grounds, Kiwi, V, Andrew, Audrey, Braystar, Silgon, Amateur Masu, Logan, Sianaru, and Jiva. As always, I love you guys and thank you for your support, for keeping me alive. Really cannot thank you guys enough. And I hope you guys take it easy and have a good rest of your week.